Welcome, welcome. It must be Tuesday because we are here with another episode. And man, oh man, this guest today, who I will tell you who it is in a second, is so great. So great. But first, we have the rundown. If you're watching this, be sure and subscribe. I'm not really telling people to do that probably as much as I should be, but I'm trying to get to 1,000. So if you're watching, please just hit that subscribe button for me. It'll be a really big favor for me. So, okay, let's get started with the rundown. There's a lot going on. This covers March 22nd through the 28th here in Austin. So in no particular order, I will try to go in order of date. The 22nd today is Kaleo at ACL Live at the Moody Theater. Love Kaleo. 23rd is Boys to Men are playing at the Rodeo Austin. I was just at the rodeo this last weekend. Super fun. Boys to Men, who doesn't love them? The 24th at the Paramount Theater. Drew and Ellie Holcomb are doing the You and Me tour. So they're on tour together, husband and wife. Let's see. The 25th, Beach House is playing at the Moody Amphitheater at Waterloo Park. The 26th and the 27th, Moving Panoramas, big fan of them. They are at Antone's. And the 27th, Lyle Lovett is at Green Hall. That's our rundown for this next week. But like always, there's a lot going on. So make sure you follow your favorite people on Instagram and Facebook and all the other platforms that you can follow people on. Make sure you support our local artists, as well as any artists that have band camps. Make sure you're supporting them through Bandcamp and buying their music. Okay, I need a little sound machine for drum rolls. My guest today is Pat Byrne. I met Pat probably about a year ago. I interviewed him one other time. We talk about that. He won at the very end of last year. He won the big Black Fret prize. He was one of the winners. So that was a big deal and a really great way to start off 2022. We talk about his visit to Ireland, where he is from. He finally got to go home and see his family and how that was. And he played some shows. We talk about what's next for him. He has some really big things coming up. In fact, I'm going to tell you, I didn't plan on this, but let me tell you a couple things. He's opening up for Lady Antebellum, now known as Lady A, on April 30th. And I want to say that that's down at Houston, and it's a stadium. It's the first time he's ever going to play like at a stadium, which is super exciting for him. He's going to be doing an East Coast tour as well. He's doing the Kerrville Folk Festival. Gosh, there's so much going. So you just listen to the interview. I don't need to tell you it all now because you're about to see it. And then the last thing is obviously the final chapter of the saga of the stolen Jeep. We find out the latest news on that. Enjoy this. He's great. Obviously, if you're not a fan, you will be by the time you're done watching. So make sure you follow him and keep track of that guy because he's super busy, but I caught him for about a half hour. And so he's all yours. Enjoy this interview with the wonderful Pat Byrne. Hello to you, Pat Byrne. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, Kat. It's great to see you again. Thanks for having me.
I was looking at my calendar and the last time we spoke, it was July of 2021 and you were in the middle of, or had maybe just kind of begun an East Coast tour.
Yeah, I was in the middle of an East Coast tour. I remember it was the day my album came out. So I remember it clearly. Yeah.
It was July 9th.
Yeah, that was it. So it was a very memorable day for me, and thanks for making it even better. It was great.
Oh, yeah, that was really nice. I had met you before in person, but it was nice to spend time with you and kind of dive into all things you and then hear it from that accent.
Yeah, it was nice to meet in an alcohol-free environment. You got to see the real me, or maybe the masked me, who knows?
We're not sure. TBD on which version. That's so funny. Yeah, so I feel like so much has happened for you. I think probably just kind of backing up, because we have so many things to kind of talk about, that you have a lot going on. But I feel like earlier this year was Black Fret for you. Was that?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it was actually, I suppose it was the end of last year. It was last
Okay.
December.
Okay.
Yeah, but really, that the Black Fret process is like a year-long thing, because you find out early in the year that you've been nominated and that your possibility of getting a grant is there, and then throughout the year you play all these shows and meet all the wonderful members, and then like it's that Black Fret ball at the end of the years where you find out what happened. And so it's not like a one-off event. It kind of feels like a long process, which is, very enjoyable. And
Yeah.
it was a whole
And
year of Black
uh,
Fret stuff.
yeah. And then so as a result, you won a grant and
Yes.
People's Choice Award. And so there's three, like the top three that get the award, or how does that work?
Yeah, I think in normal years when COVID wasn't a player, there's 20 nominees, and I think 5 people get the People's Choice grant of $20,000, and then 15, the remaining 15 get 5,000. So it's really a win-win, great night for all involved. And this year, because of COVID, 3 people got the major grant, which was reduced to 16,000, and the remaining 17 got 12,000. So it was even more of a win-win night
Wow.
where everyone made great money, which is going to help everyone's career immensely. And I was lucky to be one of the 3 that got the 16. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
Just feels like I've been watching you ever since you kind of came onto my radar, and it's just like you're just moving right along. Does it feel like you're moving as fast as you want to, or when you kind of zoom out and are in the quiet of your own mind, laying in bed or wherever, and you're kind of thinking about this journey, where do you sit with it? Is it going, because I know I'm a little
yeah.
impatient in stuff. Are
Um,
you?
no, I'm definitely not. I don't think I'm impatient. I feel like I'm always looking at it through a microscope, and I'm never really seeing the big picture. Like I'm enjoying each week, and kind of my stresses are renewed each week. What's coming up next week? What do I have to promote? What do I want to write? What do I want to? So I'm never really looking at it as a massive career graph, if you want to look at it that way. And then I got to go back to Ireland this January and or February, and that's when it really kind of hit me that I'd kind of achieved a lot since leaving Ireland. I don't feel like I've changed or anything like that, but when I got home and got to play in front of those people again, I realized, wow, it's been a long time and I've grown a lot, and the things I'm getting up to over here are kind of surpassing what I ever got to do back home. And so that was a nice way to kind of realize how things are going pretty well, actually. And when people
Awesome.
like you think it's going well, that's great to hear. So because you're never sure, you always doubt yourself when you have the whole imposter syndrome and you're not sure if you're doing the right things or if things are going in the right direction. But
Yeah.
generally I'm kind of just trying to enjoy each week as it comes.
Yeah. Which is all the more reason to, and I feel like doing this with this show, the only reason I do it is because I really feel passionate about people like you, people that, any kind of vector off of that nucleus of creativity around music. I really want to give them a microphone, or a megaphone, maybe instead of a microphone. And I want people to understand kind of behind the scenes who you are and what the mechanics of what goes on for someone like you, for example.
Well,
And
thank you so much.
yeah, I mean, it's such a, I think what particularly people that do what you do, that write and show that kind of vulnerability, it's such a wonderful gift to people. Because I mean, I have met a couple people in my life that don't really listen to music, but they're kind of the exception. There's a reason why we gravitate to music. It is cathartic and healing. And that's because people like you dig really deep and try to put words to stuff that other people can't, right? And so I think as long as your intentions are in that, which I think yours are, and mine certainly are with the show, it's like, it kind of doesn't matter what the big picture looks like,
Exactly, yeah.
because you can stay in the moment when you're aligned in that way. It's a
Yeah.
lot easier to stay in the moment.
Yeah, and it's great to hear you speak like that, because oftentimes the importance of artists, and especially independent, lesser known artists, is kind of very much overlooked. And I think people don't realize how important they are, because we wouldn't have, our Tom Waitses or our Bob Dylans if people, if those people weren't given respect in their formative years. And like there was a piece in an Irish newspaper. I can't remember what paper it was, but it was during the pandemic, like right when the pandemic started in Ireland. And it was kind of a survey that was done in Ireland somewhere, where they were ranking the importance of careers and who deserves to get funding from the government and who doesn't. And of course, doctors were like up at the top, rightfully so, nurses, things like that. And right at the very bottom was musicians. And it was kind of tough to see. And there was a lot of outcry from fellow musicians back home. And I just remember reading some great pieces written by, famous musicians in Ireland, where, like, of course the doctors are so important, but wouldn't it be a sad world if you were waiting in a doctor's office and there was no magazine to read, there was no books, there was no music coming through the speaker? I mean, it's the art in our lives that really enrich it and make it worth living. Like the doctors are going to keep us alive and they're going to do miraculous work to save us when we need that. But art is about making that quality of life so much better, and it's very important to respect all forms of art. And you don't know where that's coming from or what it means to other people. Obviously art's very subjective, but I think it needs to be given a spotlight and a megaphone, as you say. So thanks for doing that for
such a pleasure
artists.
It reminds me, a couple nights ago at dinner, my daughter asked me, she likes to ask really deep questions while we're having dinner and like kind of look them up and stuff, and she asked, what's the difference between existing and living? And that's kind of what comes up, is like, the music is the art on the walls. It's the difference between existing and living. And I find it really ironic, speaking of during COVID and this article that speaks of this kind of ranking of importance, but it's quite ironic, all the videos that would come through social media during the real crux of that time. As doctors and nurses are leaving the hospital, what did people do for them? They played music for them. They danced for them. They banged pots and pans for them. They filled that space with art. Mm-hmm. And because that is the negative space, right? I mean, that's what you have to fill it with. So yeah, I agree with you. So I think this kind of stuff is really important. And even on a more, analytical, that middle class of musicians, like, yeah, some people will get out of that middle class and they'll get up to be the Bob Dylans and all that stuff. But that middle class of talented musicians that are in it for life, they are so important to us.
Absolutely.
I stand so firm in that. And so I think that's the other reason why I want to do this show, because yeah, would it be great to talk to Bob Dylan? Yeah. But I think there's more value in talking to people that aren't Bob Dylan. You know?
And you're in Austin, Texas. You're in the live music capital, and it's not Bob Dylan and Neil Young that are playing in the bars. It's middle class, like you say, up and coming musicians and people who are making a steady living. They're not, they're not super wealthy, but they're getting by doing what they love, and they're enriching the culture here in Austin. So it's like, they're the important ones.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad we agree on all that. That's settled. Okay, so I listened to switching gears. I'm really curious about this. I listened to your cover, the Sam Fender cover of 17 Going Under, and I literally had tears running down my cheek. What made you pick that song? Can you tell me what that song means to you and why you chose that to cover?
Well, I mean, first of all, it was sent to me by a friend who was like, I think you'd love this song. But generally when I hear new music, and when I say new music, I mean like whatever's in the charts and what's very popular among the current generation and is like winning best newcomer and all that. Generally, it doesn't speak to me that much. I'm very much an old school or a very kind of, grassroots music is what I'm listening to. But when I heard that, and he was like this younger guy who's up and coming, and he's a really good looking pop star, when I listened to the lyrics, I was like, wow, these are good lyrics. This is one of the best written songs I'd heard in ages. He feels like a new Springsteen, you know, and he's not just being Springsteen, but he's making it his own, but it comes from Springsteen, and it's like of that world. And I was just blown away when I listened to it first. I think Sam Fender's great, and those lyrics are so relatable and so nostalgic, and they really put you in a place, and they play out all these great scenes. And I was like, I want to do that. And I'm not a pop star, so I had to do it my own way. And so I definitely stripped it back a bit more. And, you know, it's not as good as Sam Fender's version, but it's a lovely song to sing. And I was glad some people reacted well to it, because I don't normally sing current things. So when you put up a song on YouTube and it's a song that's trending at the minute, it gets a lot more exposure, which I don't know why I didn't realize that before, but lots of people really tagged onto it and shared it. And it was nice to get some new fans because of that. Yeah.
I have never heard his version, and frankly, I don't really want to.
You should listen. It's great. And
Okay.
it's got a great music video as well. And he gets like teenage angst and those formative years better than any song I've ever heard. It's so great.
Okay, well, maybe because you said to, I will, but I just felt like it's really cool though, the experience of watching someone cover a song that you've not heard yet, because it's like I can't if I already would have heard his song, I can't get that moment back of me listening to just you do it. You know, that's a really precious, unique moment that I got to hear your version first. So now I can go and listen to his, but it's like, it will always be kind of yours first for these years. You know what I mean?
I understand that experience. Yeah. Like Jose Gonzalez has that great cover of Heartbeats, you know, that he has that.
I probably do, yeah.
It's like a beautiful acoustic song is what I always thought of it as. And then I figured out he didn't write the song. It was this kind of very energetic dance song initially. So I'll always hear it as the Jose Gonzalez thing.
Right.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. But I always will respect the writer and the first one. Like it wouldn't exist without them. So it's like they're the one who deserve the credit, you know.
Yeah. Well, of course. And then I also watched the video for Only a Man. And who did you record that with?
The video or the song?
The song.
I did it in my friend who lives in Nashville. His name is Chuck Cannon. We met at 30A Songwriters Festival many years ago. We did a song swap together and we just stayed in touch. We hit it off. And I was passing through Nashville and discovered he has this state-of-the-art studio on his property where he let me stay. And I was like, can I record a song here? And so we got some great Nashville musicians. We got basically Emmylou Harris's band, the Red Dirt Boys. So Phil Madeira was playing keys. Who else did I have? I'm on the spot now. Eamon McLaughlin was playing fiddle, and Chris Donahue was playing bass. And it was just the four of us, and we did it live, and it's very organic, kind of how I wanted the song to sound. You know, we did it in a day, and that was it.
Oh, I love it. All right. So when you were in Ireland, how was so I heard that you were vegan. How long have you been vegan?
Since I met my girlfriend. That was part of the deal. Because she's been vegan for 8 years now, and we're 3 years old as a couple now. So I've been vegan for 3 years. And actually, you know, before I moved to America, I tried to become vegan. I was vegan for 3 months in Ireland, and it was just too difficult. So I gave up. And so, you know, it was always there in me. I always thought it was an interesting way to live and kind of an ethically, you know, more less stains on your hands kind of way to live. And also you feel healthier and you got more energy. So
yeah. So when going back to Ireland just in February last month, was it difficult to kind of make that adjustment eating wise back there?
Yes, very difficult. I mean, the easiest part about doing it here is I live with my girlfriend Samantha, and she's vegan, and we don't surround ourselves with anything but vegan food, and there's great restaurants and there's options everywhere. In Ireland it's not. Are you vegan?
No, I'm gluten-free, and I have been for like 8 years. Well, same as Samantha on that. But yeah, I get it. Like when you travel somewhere, like I think if and when I go back to Italy, that will be challenging.
Right, exactly. And
Yeah.
so, and in Ireland, they don't have the options. And also, I'm living with my parents who are making all this nostalgic comfort food from my youth. And so, yeah, it's definitely more challenging, but it's a relief to be back here. I just, yeah, it's nice to be around all the restaurants and like going
Have
to the
you?
Alamo Draft House, and there's a whole vegan menu, and
Yeah.
it's great.
Yeah. I mean, obviously I know the answer to this, but talk about just you hadn't seen your family in a few years, right?
It had been almost 3 years. It was like 2 years and 8 months since I was back, and
So like how awesome was that to see your family?
it was amazing. I was terrified they were going to have changed physically, but it was just the same. It was really lovely, and just to kind of chill out at home as much as I could, and then
Yeah.
also seeing all my friends. And I
Oh,
spent 3 weeks basically traveling around visiting everyone I know, and did a
oh,
lot of drinking and had a great time, and played a show in Whelan's where I'd never played.
yeah.
But it was always one of my favorite venues, and I sold out the room in Whelan's, which was amazing, and it was great to see, people I hadn't seen in years, and lots of new Irish fans who'd kind of sprung up because of the pandemic, the live
Yeah.
streams they were tuning in every week, and it was really heartwarming and great to get back, and also lovely to get back to Austin afterwards.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. That's wonderful. Good. Okay, so I heard that there are developments in the grand auto theft case.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah, it's like
I feel like we need a little intro, like jingle, news box. Update time.
This just in. No, well, yeah, like we were talking about the Black Fret win, which like every high is followed by a dramatic low, is how it feels. A couple of days after getting that Black Fret grant, we went for a walk. We were walking the dog, and we noticed that Samantha's car wasn't there, her Jeep. And so we kind of looked around the parking lot for a while, and then realized it was gone, and called the cops. And evidently several cars had been stolen from the parking lot that morning, and all my merch was in it, and lots of Samantha's stuff. And I had some equipment there that I'll never get back. And it was a nightmare. But we just had to forget about it, and we moved on. And then just yesterday, I got a text from a cop saying your car has been discovered, and it's at this impound facility. And so we drove there today, and all of my stuff was taken out of the car, and all the insurance company owns the car now. So it was a bit of closure, but I was just praying my merch was still in it. But obviously they got rid of that straight away. And yeah, so we found the car, but it's not ours anymore, and none of my stuff was recovered. So
Yeah. Does
and then my
insurance cover what
second.
was in it?
So yes, so we luckily our apartment insurance, is that what you call it?
Yeah, yeah, like your rental insurance.
Rental insurance covers some of the contents of the car, so we got something back, but nowhere near what was in it was worth. So that was disheartening. And then I got this old Lexus that I bought when I moved here, that we used to use as a second car when the Jeep was being used, and now it's our primary car, and it wouldn't start when we were trying to leave the impound place. And so I had to get a new battery and all this. It was a nightmare. I,
Oh,
I need a
no.
new
Oh,
car.
no. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's start a Kickstarter
Yes, another one of those.
for some wheels for Byrne. Um, well, what's next? What do you have going on? So this is going to come out on March 22nd. This episode's going to drop. So then let's talk about what you have coming up for whatever you can remember. I know you have a lot going on, so don't worry about the details. We'll take care of that in writing.
I'll see what comes back to me. I'm very lucky to have a great manager, Ted Lundgren, who thankfully takes care of my schedule. And
Shout out to Ted.
Ted, yeah, thank you, Ted. And he knows more of what's going on than I do. But well, this has been recorded before South by, so I got a super busy South by Southwest schedule coming up, doing some official showcases and some unofficial stuff. And then after that, it's Paddy's Day next week. That's always a busy time of the year for me.
What do you do for St. Paddy's Day?
I always go to McGonagall's Mucky Duck in Houston. That's my
home
away from home. And they have a great festival, like a 2-day Paddy's Day festival that they do. So that's going to be happening. I'm going there with Ula, which is like an Irish traditional band I play with
Yes.
here in Austin. We play every Sunday at the Saxon Pub.
Mhm.
Then after that, for April, I'm heading up the East Coast. I'm starting off around Georgia. I'm playing in Greenville, South Carolina. I'm playing in Atlanta. I'm playing in somewhere else in South Carolina, and then I make my way up to Long Island, and I'm playing outside Boston. I'm doing several house concerts, and then I get up to Portland, Maine, where I'm playing a really nice theater show with Will Mallet and Eric Betancourt, and then turning around and coming back. So my website will have all the actual dates. I wish I knew the exact date.
Yeah.
Lots of shows in April, and then when I get back, I'm supporting Lady A down in Houston at Minute Maid Park. So it'll be my first stadium gig, which is very exciting, playing in a baseball stadium.
Are you a little like, do you get nervous or just like excited butterflies or excited / nervous? What happens?
Right now, all I'm feeling is excited. I'm sure when I'm there, because I've never been on a stage that big. So I'm sure when I step out, there'll be massive nerves. But right now, generally I'm not that nervous about playing.
Right.
But that just sounds like it's a bit more intimidating. But mainly I'm just like, what a great opportunity to play in front of that many people and open for a band of that caliber. And, it's a really exciting opportunity. So looking forward to that.
Yeah.
And then after that, there's like Kerrville Folk Festival. I'm going to get back to Ireland in August, and then more festivals for the rest of the year. And I'm going to be recording. I'm going to be putting that Black Fret grant to use and recording as much music as I can over the next few months. So looking forward to that.
That's amazing. I have to think that with COVID knocking on everything wood around here, but with COVID changing and kind of, seemingly calming down, does it just feel like, I mean, I know it feels like for everybody, like 1,000 pounds kind of lifted off, but like, especially for you where this is what you do. Like you need to be in rooms full of people. This is what you do. So I have to think that feels so great.
It feels amazing. It was a really tough couple of years, and not that it's fully over or whatever, but it's the first thing to get pulled last year was Paddy's Day and South by Southwest, and they're going ahead next year, so that feels great.
Right.
It's like kind of symbolic that we're nearing the end and getting back to Ireland. It just so happened that when I arrived that same week, it kind of opened back up as well, because Ireland were completely shut down for 2 years and nothing was happening and no one was playing, and I just got really lucky that when I got back they were opening back up. So yeah, it feels like things are slowly getting better.
Yeah,
in that sense. Obviously not, the world is still a pretty dark place right now, but in terms of live music, at least we're getting to play. So
yeah. Before we wrap up, let's manifest a little bit. Like what are some things kind of, I know you don't tend to think kind of, big or whatever, but like what are some goals that you have for the next whatever period of time? What can we all sort of help program and vision for you?
Oh, well, Oscars, Grammys.
No. Would you ever act you do videos?
No.
So that's kind of like acting.
No, well, I actually just did a music video for one. These amazing cinematographers from San Diego came in and did a free music video for me, which I can't wait to see how it turned out. And they're called the Ray Sisters, and that's the closest I've ever gotten to acting, and I just don't think I'm a natural, to be honest. So,
well, did I see something on social media with like all the blue smoke?
Yeah.
Okay, because that looks kind of cool. I
think it's gonna look really cool, but it won't be because of my performance.
Because of all the blue smoke.
Yeah, it'll be because of their great cinematography. But I was joking. I will never be an actor, and really, the things the things I get very excited about are writing more songs, and I'm hoping to find more time to write this year, because it's been kind of crazy the last while, and I've only written 1 or 2 songs in the last year, which really disheartens me. But my biggest hope for the next year or 2 is to write and record and put out I'd like to be putting out songs every couple of months, yes, and getting bigger festivals, and maybe get a couple of support slots would be great, and just try to reach bigger audiences. It's always just about making life easier, really, because I love what I do, but it'd be nice to make a little bit more money so that that feels easier, because it's a lot of work, for the most amount of money you can imagine.
Well, I will say from this seat, you make it look easy. And, obviously the talent is there. I'm such a big, I don't like the word fan because it just sounds so, I don't know, but I'm just an advocate for you. And I really like what you do. You're so talented and you do make it look easy. So
Thank you, Kat.
yeah,
Cheers.
of course. Well, thanks for coming on. I look forward to posting all your schedule and your dates for everybody. So if they can catch you, that they be sure to do that. So you take care, and maybe we'll have you back in the next, I don't know, 6 months or so. And
Anytime.
after you've accepted your first Oscar, we'll have you back.
I'd love that.
And don't come back a minute sooner.
That'd be great. Thanks so much for having me, and thanks for doing this. It's a great thing you're doing, and can't wait to see more of it.
Such a pleasure. All right. Well, until next time, that was another episode of the Austin Downbeat. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.